civil societies in Africa, Europe, and the Americas in the areas of tourism, entertainment, media, culture, education, entrepreneurship, and youth development. Chief Williams, among other responsibilities, is the Honorary Consul General for the Caribbean islands of Antigua and Barbuda to the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the Cultural Ambassador to the Caribbean for Nigerian Ministry of Arts and Culture, and Chairman of Cold Logistics Africa Limited International Holographic and Security Printing.
What was good about this was the fact that I had taken the former president Obasanjo to the Caribbean, to Trinidad, and then we went to Antigua and Barbuda for they needed to have someone for citizenship, for opportunities, etc. So
yeah, your CV is a long one, most certainly.
I know. I've been told that. My friend told me that. I said, Dad, you need to either write a book on your experiences and your CV, or just give snippets in different areas.
Okay, and that's what we're hoping to get from you today, just an insight into the life that you've led, trying to garner interest on what is truly African. Now, you've lived in other African countries. Can you tell us some of the unique differences in our culture that you think makes a lot of sense to you that we as Nigerians can emulate?
Yeah, well, Nigeria leads in so many different ways, if you check anywhere in the world, any achievements by a non-American, for example, you'll find that it is a Nigerian who's doing well either in medicine, either in culture, either in fashion, etc., etc., etc. But the continent as a whole, which is, South Africa or Zimbabwe or Uganda or Rwanda, all of us as Africans have some very unique things: our spirituality, our positivity, our swag, the way we carry ourselves, etc. And Nigeria tends to lead in that respect. But the good thing about Nigeria is the fact that we have 36 states, all different in different ways, and could be a reflection of several other countries in the way we carry ourselves in those different states. And I think Nigeria should be given kudos for leading, the continent in so many ways. I mean, we need to get a lot of things right, and we need to bring the economy up and raise the poverty level and spread, the benefits, for example, of oil around,
Okay,
I take that as an example.
You grew up in the Caribbean before migrating to the UK as a young computer technologist,
yes.
And you saw firsthand how a lack of education and positive, mentoring can affect the young people.
Yeah.
What are we not doing right when it comes to youth mentorship and development in Nigeria?
I think what we're not doing right, where youths are concerned, is one, I think instead of spending money on large-scale projects, what I'll call white elephant projects, do like India did, hothouse all youths. In other words, try and give them free education. Free education. In the Caribbean, for example, in Trinidad, they have free education from primary right up to tertiary level. And they've been able to use that as a skill base to ensure that in the oil and gas industry, for example, all jobs are held by Trinidadians because they've been trained and they've been well educated and they've been well skilled. That should not be the basis, of the parents to educate and to spend. It should be the basis of the country, because that's your pool. That's your pool of future. Invest in the future. Invest in the youths. Get them skills, give them opportunities. Ideas, for example, of, okay, we want to build on agriculture. Give the youths who have graduated, and instead of going on to Yahoo and all these other 419 activities that we get infamous for, give them an acre of land, give them a homestead, what I'll call homesteading, give them a home, buy the produce from them, right, as a cooperative. You have in each state and in each public council area. So you start getting most of these people, employed, but self-employed. And the self-employment means that they are helping the country and the economy to grow.
This current administration seems to be, making a whole lot of noise about what the strides they're making in agriculture, the closure of the border, and the effect it has had on the economy. Do you think that is enough when it comes to empowering the youth?
It's a good direction, but you need to go further than that. All right, you have other areas. Try and get the youths into cooperatives. I've talked inside the Niger Delta some time ago about gaspreneurs, making them gaspreneurs. For example, getting them to be driving what we call virtual gas pipelines on trucks. Get them to be fixing the roads. FIRMA, for example, should now employ in each council area, get the youths of about 10 or 11 or 12, and have them doing pothole patching, for example. Because those are all part of the infrastructure of the country and will help the economy of the country. So let's get it right. You can't do all the roads in one day, but at least if you supply the material and if you train the youths, they can be doing what we call intervention. Intervention, whether it's intervention in agriculture, intervention in infrastructure, intervention in the oil and gas sector. They are interventionist type of programs, and I'm willing to help in that area because I have the experience in the very areas I've spoken about.
Yeah, before we go on a short break, I want to, pick your brain on your decision. You had most of your kids. You brought them back here to study in Nigeria. And we have this culture where we see most of our leaders sending their kids abroad to, study, to get better education. What's your take?
There's not better education. It's not about better education. I think it's an excuse. There is good education in Nigeria, and you need to be able to... This is where they will eventually come back to, if at all. This is their home. This is their country. The relationships that you form here are what is going to help you in the future. When you go to university in the United States or the UK, your friends and your contacts have spread around the world. It might be helpful if you're going to be an international business person. It might be helpful if you're going to be a diplomat. That's different. But if you're going to be utilizing your skills back here, you should start and try and finish here. There's nothing wrong with, for example, Lagos Business School. I'm a graduate there, right? I would not go to Harvard, right? I may do some courses there, but Lagos Business School, the problems, the solutions are Nigerian and African based. So you try and do that, you employ the skills that will help your country and your economy.
So how can we get our leaders to basically adopt that mindset, to train that money that they're taking abroad, to keep it within the confines?
Free education. Free education. If the education is free, there's no need for them to go abroad.
We certainly need to do something. Or
No, I'm saying we have to. There's no ifs or buts about that.
All right, we'll go on a short break, and when we come back, we'll be talking about what happened with the first Act 77, among other issues, here on One on One. To stay with us.
We are not yet at a point where a lawyer like Fashola should be the Minister of Housing. We are not there yet.
But what about the social implications that are much more than an architect?
Even if we get a 3-digit number, will our computers work?
There is no hope. Let's not deceive us.
But doesn't mean that there isn't hope, because I believe so that there is hope.
Oh, you must be with one woman. You must be with... these are Igbo ways. African
As your wife
ways
is in on it, we have no problem.
Different.
We have that value system that we got from our royal days and everything. That gives us a sense of identity.
My question is, who is the we
Which part?
that's going to allow for an Igbo presidency in 2023? Because I mean, it is not you and I.
If we want to have the last presidency based on rotation,
Yes, then it
we
needs
better
to
just
be
go
an
to the
Igbo
southeast,
presidency.
finish with him,
presidency.
and then say the post is now open.
Thank you for staying with us. You're watching One on One with Ambassador Wallens, and it's telling us a bit about what it takes to travel the world. All right, thank you very much for staying with us. Before we go and talk about your life, that's a big one, entertainment. Let's look at the work that you did. You were instrumental, like you earlier mentioned in this conversation, to bring in the former President Olusegun Obasanjo to Trinidad and Tobago of the security situation in Nigeria today. We're still...
There's border conflicts, I mean borders within states, you know, people saying, well, this is my land, this is my border, etc., etc. I think there is quite a lot there that has to be done. I think there's a role for giving back to the people who are the closest to these situations, and that is chiefs, kings, religious leaders. Have them into a hothouse conference and try and solve some of these problems. Because at the end of the day, when you have war, people still have to go to peace talks, not so?
Yes.
When the war is finished, you still go to peace talks. So why not reverse it? Reverse it by talking peace early on. Find what the problems are and solve them.
Let's break this down a little to the aspect of you being an entertainer. A lot of people don't know how well into music you are. Can you tell us your first time in Nigeria? That was Festac 77.
Yeah.
Tell us a bit about that.
That was an exciting period, very exciting. And I have to again thank former President and military leader Obasanjo for what he did. Bringing together the diaspora of Africans in one place was the greatest exposition that we had of black culture. And we all got together, all lived in Festac as, I was a young man then. And
you were just signed to a record label.
I was signed to Virgin Records. I was one of the first few that were signed to Virgin Records at the time. But they never released the album because the album was a very, very much strong in support of anti-apartheid.
Yes, I was going to get there. Tell us about that.
I was an anti-apartheid crusader. And all the songs were Zimbabwe Freedom Song, Soweto, Black versus Black, One Love, all these were in support of the revolutionary movements, anti-apartheid movements in the Southern African hemisphere. So I was doing my bit as not just as an entertainer, but as a messenger, as a poet and singer-songwriter.
Based on that background, if you bring that to what we have today, that same South Africa has xenophobic attacks. What lessons didn't we learn from that experience of apartheid?
Well, you mean South Africa didn't learn?
Yes, South Africa didn't learn.
What South Africa didn't learn is the fact that you are your brother's keeper. Nigeria was their brother's keeper. Nigeria helped South Africa in any which way, sacrificing lives, money, and reputation, because when the world was in support, of South Africa and the apartheid regime, Nigeria said no. Don't forget the nationalized companies, they sent troops, they sent money, they trained people here, and they are their brother's keeper. And why would you now, I call it Afrophobia, I don't call it xenophobia. I call it Afrophobia. In other words, you're fearing your own Africans because of maybe jealousy. Because don't forget, when Nigerians arrive in South Africa, they already have entrepreneurship skills, they have money, etc. And our poor brothers in South Africa who are catching up is seeing, them come and display wealth and opportunity and entrepreneurship, which they didn't have the opportunity. So they've got to think back and say, well, why not let's join forces with our brothers? Let's be partners in business. South African and Nigerian, let's partner in business and take it up another level. Why should you be fighting them? You have Chinese and others who are coming and making money on the continent freely. And I have nothing against that. But don't forget, these are interlopers. These are people who, are coming and seeing the opportunity that you're not seeing. Work with your brothers who understand the opportunity. They have gone there because they've seen the opportunity and they're coming in where others have left a vacuum. So join forces with them. not fight them.
So much to talk about. So let's go on another break, a very short one. And when we come back, you will be uncovering something interesting not a lot of persons know in the entertainment world. Stay with us.
Is it for upcoming artists to blow in Nigeria?
Welcome to Plus Trending. I am Buki November, your host, saying thank you for joining us on today's episode.
Welcome back. It's tea time on Plus TV Africa.
Practice makes perfect. I'm not perfect yet, but I'm a lot better than I used to be.
He's a king. He's entitled to marry 100 if he wants to.
We still have our guest in the studio talking entertainment this time and his role in it, especially across Nigeria and beyond, actually. All right, let's talk about what a lot of people don't know.
Okay.
Your history with Magic Fashion.
Okay. Well, it's part of the untold story that his manager says he's going to tell and going to set up special interviews for, but I can let the cat out of the bag a little bit. What people did not know is I was responsible for launching Magic Fashion. Magic Fashion was in London in Tabanzi's house, Prince Tabanzi, God bless his soul. And he was just there in the house as a houseboy and helping out, etc. And one night I just finished a meeting with Tabanzi. And as I was leaving, he said, please, sir, I'd like you to listen to my music. Because at that time, you know, I was very well connected in the business. I used to manage Marvin Gaye. Yeah.
Yes, yes. I mean, so much to talk about. We can't even begin to.
I used to write for Hot Chocolate, write as a writer. Their last album, Love Shot, I have 2 songs on it. And I said, okay, fine, no problem. They gave me a little cassette, and I got home. I put on my usual hot chocolate that I like to drink in the night, and as I put it on, I put the tape on, I was in a state of shock. Yeah, I said, clarity, tonality, sweet voice, music sounded very good. And I picked up the phone and I called the band. It was about 1 in the morning because I left his house about 12:30 in North London where he lived in Wood Green. And I was going to Brixton, South London. Of course, that hour of the night I speed through the lights. And I got there in 30 minutes. I was home about 1 o'clock and put on my hot chocolate and started this. And then I called him about 5 past, 10 past 1. I said, Prince, you've got a star on your hands. He said, what do you mean? I said, this boy, at that time he had Felix Liberty, Chris Okoti, Eva Adney, and others that he was promoting. I said, this boy is a gold mine. I said, no, he's not even a gold mine, he's a diamond mine. This guy is going to bring you a lot of money. He said, you mean? I said, look, I'm coming back there tomorrow morning. Get the funds ready. Take this guy to the studio. I'm going to go with him to the studio. And
Amazing.
Get him. And he went.
You were right, very right. He's one of the musical treasures in this country.
He went back to, he went to the studio, and that was the other shock I got. Magic was playing all the instruments. Both guitar, drum, percussion. I said, what kind of talent is this? And he then completed his album over the time, Send on the Rail. When he was leaving, I gave him a gift. I gave him £100 at Gatwick Airport, and I gave him one of my guitars. I had a 12-string Ovation electric and a 12-string Ovation acoustic. I gave him the electric guitar, and I said, from one artist to the other, go and do well.
Gift to you. Thank you so much. A lot of persons don't know. I didn't even know that until I read a bit. Okay, aside from that, you've done a whole lot more. You were also part of the Calabar Carnival that is now almost a global phenomenon.
Yes.
Are you happy with your participation?
Well, my participation was very, I would say, instrumental in one area, and that was to bring Donald Duke to Trinidad. Having brought him to Trinidad around Carnival time and showed him what Carnival was all about, he got excited and then started to interact with the people who were making Carnival in Trinidad, and that is the bandsmen, the costume makers, etc., and brought them over to Calabar, and that's the beginning and the start of Calabar Carnival. So that was my role. You know, in having I brought him, Lucky Igbenidian, of course, President Obasanjo and others, because what I was doing is trying to foster South-South relationship between the Caribbean and Trinidad, me having both cultures as part of my persona.
Okay, yeah, we're time pressed now, so I must ask you, though, you've had quite a number of awards to your name. Could you tell us about your favorites?
I think the recognition that I got from CBAC, FESTAC, 40 years, as one of the pillars of FESTAC, to me that was the most important. They gave Obasanjo, President Obasanjo, they gave Wole Soyinka, they gave Sir Victor Waifo, and they gave myself. To be in there among those super greats was, for me, a final recognition of my contribution, and FESTAC being the culmination of all the cultures of the African diaspora, and to be represented by that, and to be made a pillar of Africa. What else do you want?
Congratulations are always in order. Congratulations again.
Thank you.
Okay, let's look quickly, your thoughts as a concluding part of this conversation. Your thoughts about the Nigerian project. There's been a lot of conversation about restructuring. You've been around the world. You've seen how other cultures, operate, how other politics play out, and what we have here in Nigeria. What are your thoughts about the future of this country?
The future rests with, I think, one of the areas that I've talked about earlier on in my organization, Africacy, and Africans doing for themselves by themselves. I don't think we need to borrow what I call inbuilt infrastructures from the UK, the US, etc., and use that. We are borrowing things that are not relevant to us. Democracy. What is democracy? What is Africacy is more important. How do we build our own political base and our own unique way of ruling ourselves? Why are we borrowing from other countries, the way they rule themselves, and we have made a mishap of theirs? It has not worked. The fact of the matter is that it has not worked. In most of these countries, we are only, we are like adopted sons and daughters of these.
So we need to find our own.
Our own is Africacy. Concentrate on the Afrocentric renaissance, the Afrocentric aspect of our lives. What make us tick? What has governed us over all those periods of time before those things came? How did we live? How did we run our cultures? How did we run ourselves? Go back to that. Chiefs, kings, respect for elders, making sure elders are inclusive, taking care of the young, one village growing a family. Hey, those are the things that made us what we were and what we are.
People listen to these words of wisdom. Thank you very much for coming on the program today. It's been a pleasure having a conversation with you.
Thank you.
Because that's where we wrap it up. I hope you enjoyed the conversation as much as I did. Well, if you did, tune in again for more of such conversations here on Plus TV Africa. My name is Felicity Ezewike. Until next time, be well.
Hey, what's up, guys? You're welcome to another edition of Plus Event, and I remain your host, Ifeoluwa Oshukeye.
Your absence isn't an excuse anymore, as Plus Events is all you need, as we bring you the glitz, the glamour, and loads of fun.
Oh, definitely. Like, no question. He's a living legend.
Oh, God forbid, Holy Ghost fire, I know.
I just want to be blown away. I want to be wild. This is 11 years of doing it.
I'm surrounded by so much positivity.
No, it's okay.
Yo, what's up, my people? It's your boy Starboy Terry. You're watching
Plus Event on Plus TV.
Stay glued to Plus TV Africa every Saturday and Sunday, 4:30 p.m. West African time.
All right, country people, greeting on top this 0 o'clock when Mr. Nate join us for news on the hour for Plus TV Africa. This is not the 3 when Sama given my name now promise. Nero. As they all, they say the federal government don't talk their mind, say they will give better environment for business to succeed. As partnership between the public and private sectors remain the Ogbonge way to bring prosperity to every. Femi Adesina, when say be the special advisor to the president on top media and publicity, for Onyani say Oga President Muhammadu Buhari, he give the assurance on Tuesday when say to receive the Shemo MTN Group, Mankebisi Jonas for the State House, Abuja. The MTN Group Shemo, he say in a show with top executive of the telecoms company to thank Oga President Buhari. As he take he said the group get better commitment to invest for Nigeria, and they want to drop $1.6 billion from their operation inside the country to strengthen their network and systems. Oga President Muhammadu Buhari say hard times they wait for bandits when say that they scatter the work of the country, and when say that they make Nigeria people they cry, stop plenty people, make them no chop, and constantly they put insecurity for inside plenty part of the country. The president talked this one when he said they received one joint body of Ogbonge and respected citizens of Niger State when Governor Abubakar Sani Bello, a day front put for inside the State House, Abuja, on Tuesday. Oga President Buhari say the work of the bandits don't force plenty people to run come up from their farms and house, and say they will soon catch them for their yeye waka. Oga President Muhammadu Buhari don't tell auditors may they use the power when say they get to take fight Wuru and to make the system clean for accountability inside Obodo Naija. Yanisa Abuja for the second Auditors General Conference with the name Building Government Audit Institute, Nigeria Need for 21st Century. Oga President Buhari tell auditors made a joint hand for good governance, accountability, and transparency so that they fit throw away Wuru come out from the country. He says Accountability Institute for the federal, state, and local government, and as institute when they empower under the Constitution to touchlight the financial performance of public officers, even when we say they don't get petition or allegate, not them, they better place to fight Wuru. The federal government don't tell the National Institute for Security Studies may they do their work well and do what they talk. Now the secretary to the government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, through this year and inside Abuja, as they inaugurate the governing board of institutes. Mustafa say he get confident, he say with the board when we say they don't do in place, the capacity of the federal government to solve palaver of security challenges for the nation, he don't do Richard.
With the tenacity of purpose, focus, and a burning desire to excel, I have no doubt that you can achieve the overall objective for the establishment of the institute, namely making a difference and contributing to the security and stability of our dear country.
We recognize the fact that there are several challenges that are facing the nation. Our belief is that we can contribute to mitigating the various challenges that are facing the nation. So it is our intention really to nurture an institute that will be unlike the other institutions, because we intend to actively participate in the process of advising the government as well as enhancing professionalism in the various services.
They say Niger Army don't reopen Damboa Road after 1 year when we say they close up. Military closed Maduguri Damboa Road because of the plenty gbege when we say Boko Haram, the gbege motor them. They open the road for people when we say that they drive sometimes around 2016 before the military authority can say made a recloser for security reason. Today, the reopening mark the 13th month since then closed the Damboa High Road when we say motor not fit take pass.
Today marks a turning point in taming the excesses of Boko Haram in Operation Lafia Dole. It will be recalled that this road was closed sometime last year as part of our strategy to strangulate the insurgents. However, on the receipt of the Chief of Army Staff directives for the road to be opened, the Theater Command made concerted efforts to attain the task as directed. As this road opens today, all hands must be on deck for it to remain so open. I would like to urge all commuters plying this road to take it as their own prosperity by availing the Theater Command and other security agencies all necessary information that could help us keep the road open.
It is my honor and privilege to be here again for the second time on this road to officially open it. We first of all reopened this road on the 27th of February 2016, where we allowed commuters to ply this road with maximum protection. However, for strategic reasons, as mentioned by the Theater Commander, the road had to be closed again. This is to allow for freedom of action of our troops to be able to contain the attacks on this road by the Boko Haram terrorists. It was quite strategic. It wasn't done deliberately to inconvenience the people that apply this road or to prevent them from carrying out their economic activities.
I also want to thank the Nigerian Army under the leadership of our amiable Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Chua Buratai, for taking this bold decision of reopening this road for the citizens of the state to commute freely. We want to appreciate the Nigerian Army and other security services for the job well done.
Ni askirawo bane zunge kafin a bude hanyar nan muna bi ta Bamma, to wani lokaci za mu yi kwana biyu a hanya, wani lokaci kuma za mu yi kwana ɗaya a hanya kafin mu iso Wuba.
They say the House of Representatives are ready to resume plenary today, Wednesday the 29th of 2020. This one is because of the House when they say they carried plenary yesterday to mourn Muhammad Gawo when they said died for the Christmas holidays. Now the majority of the House, Peter Akpata Singh, now moved the motion when they say they carry and go front, and at the House minority of Undudu Elumelu, now second arm. Gawo when they say they represent Gaki Dubara Federal Constituency of Jigawa State. He died for Dubai when we say the United Arab Emirates because of one small sickness. Lawmakers do 1 minute silence for their late colleague.
They are practicing, representing the great people of Akukwa Edo Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker and my colleagues, I move that this House do adjourn till tomorrow, Wednesday, 11 o'clock, in honor of our departed friend and brother, I so move.
I represent the good people of our constituency and from Delta State. I rise to second the motion moved by the acting leader, Associate.
Honorable Adamu Muhammadu Fagengawo, who died on 31st December 2019 when we were all away for our Christmas break. He has since been buried according to Muslim rites, but as is the tradition of this house, and in his honor, this house will not be sitting today, so we will just take a 1 minute silence and we will resume plenary tomorrow.
They said the State Commissioner for Health, Dr. Ahmed Ghana, he said they don't record 7 suspected cases of Lassa fever inside Gombe State. Ghana showed this yarn for inside Gombe on Tuesday as the young give talk men for the outbreak and spread of the disease inside the country. He said out of the 7 suspected cases there, 2 they confirm, and out of the 2, 1 die, and they treat the other one when they say they don't discharge him. Ghana say among the remaining 5 suspected cases, 1 later died as they wait for laboratory confirmation, and the remaining 4 they take treatment for the isolated ward of the Federal Teaching Hospital, Gombe. As they take care, and he said the first confirmed case now from IB, local government area of Taraba, when we say they represent for the Teaching Hospital, Gombe. When we say that is to say he get Lassa fever and they can treat him and discharge him too. Dr. Innocent Vakai, the Taraba Commissioner for Health, on Tuesday, he said Lassa fever, he don't claim the life of 4 people inside Taraba. Vakai told talk men inside the Jalingo say they test 15 suspected cases and 5 of them they positive, when they say 4 died. As the commissioner take on, he said the state government don't activate their surveillance system for more case detection and proper treatment. He said that they do something to create awareness among people of the states to let them know about the symptoms of the disease. He regrets say challenges like a late report of case to hospital and the hard terrain of the state are a major problem to the management of the disease inside Taraba State. The Minister of Health, Dr. Saige Hanire, he said Nigeria contributed to research for the development of Lassa fever vaccine to stop the sickness. Hanire, when he said this one for one news conference on Tuesday inside Abuja, he said they fit stop Lassa fever and they fit treat them too. He said they fit treat the sickness if the patient quick come outside talk. The minister say it is important to say make Nigeria maintain personal hygiene, environmental hygiene, and food hygiene as they go to store their food well to stop the sickness. As they take on, he said that they get plenty number of Lassa cases when they report across the country. He said the ministry will continue to support those workers as they go carry rapid response team to improve case management. All right, the news will continue after the chicken break. Wanna not go anywhere.
Welcome to What Are You Saying? #Ways.
These girls that are being trafficked, most times they are told that they're going there to work without even knowing who they're going to meet.
Absolutely. Polygamy is causing poverty, backwardness in the north. I think we should put a law. Have just one child. Working with a lot of tradesmen in Nigeria, I mean, my first few years was kind of hard, but he who pays the piper takes the tune.
The type of architecture you see in New York, you see 60, 80-story buildings, is because they have a strong economy.
What has been your biggest challenge? Availability of like machines, materials. You know, we're very, very limited in what we have.
Somebody says, oh, why am I putting in so much reinforcement? I can do it cheaper. I know the last project I did, there was no problem. You just need one bad mistake, you know, and the implication is life.
Let's say local authorities talk on Tuesday say military and they fight inside Central African Republic, CAR, kill around 40 people for the weekend and come force hundreds of people from their house there. The bloodshed now some of the worst ones since armed groups agreed for one peace deal last February, when say supposed to bring stability to the country, when say Begedon full since 2013. When we say mainly Muslim rebels for this Seleka alliance pursued before Prezo, when we say if they make Christian military, they do Allah with them. as the United Nations peacekeeping mission when we say they call MINUSCA Tekian. They say the gbege happened on Saturday for the eastern town of Brea between different ethnic factions of the before Seleka armed groups. FPROC, the regional prefect, Variste Bingwenenji, he said they killed 38 people based on one body count for local hospital, but the people when say they die feed on the near 50. They said they killed 39 people inside northern Burkina Faso on Saturday for what the government called terrorist gbege for inside one village inside Son province. The weekend, the gbege followed less than 1 week after militants killed 36 civilians for one neighboring province, when say be part of one surge for gbege for the West African country, when say they kill hundreds, come force more than 500,000 from their house and make much of the north to be ungovernable for the past 2 years. The government did not give more answer for the latest gbege inside the village of Sigaji, when say they take out the Yanis on Tuesday saying na yan. It's not clear for who caused the palaver. South African President Cyril Ramaphosa, he don't see the gbege inside Libya and South Sudan as focus for South Africa when say they're going to share the African Union AU this year. He said this gbege need the talk of those when we say they fear assist African countries to find solution, as they had some case when we say if he caused this waka. The indirect talk now for especially Turkey and Russia when we say they be closer ally of South Africa as part of the BRICS economic grouping. South Africa don't be part of peace effort for both countries for plenty years, now as part of the AU High-Level Committee for Libya and High-Level Ad Hoc Committee for South Sudan. All right, the next one, now our foreign news. All right, on to foreign. They say Palestinians they don't throw away U.S. President Donald Trump new Middle East peace plan as waiting no follow. The plan show one Palestinian state and the recognition of Israeli sovereignty for the West Bank settlements. East Jerusalem when say the Shukman for Tuesday announcement talk say Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas say Jerusalem not before say. Because he say all their rights not before say and not before bargain. Thousands of Palestinians will not go great waka inside the Gaza Strip, while the Israeli military people carry reinforcement for the occupied West Bank. Russia and China they work to develop one coronavirus vaccine. One Russian diplomatic mission inside China talk on Wednesday say Beijing still hand over the genome of the virus to Moscow. People when say they don't die inside China from coronavirus, they don't enter 132 on Wednesday, with the number of confirmed cases when say don't they nearly 6,000. The Russian consulate inside the Gansu province, they talk for one year and say Russia and Chinese, sabi people don't start to develop one vaccine. And it's not clear if Russian and Chinese scientists they work together or differently. They not feel reach the consulate inside Gansu as it ought. All right, the next one, now our business news. Onto business, I say figures when we say they get from the Central Bank of Nigeria don't show say the federal government they record one fiscal deficit of 4.62 trillion naira for the operation inside the 2019 fiscal period. The 2019 budget when Oga President Muhammadu Buhari signed, it get capital expenditure of 2.09 trillion naira, recurrent expenditure of 4.05 trillion naira, statutory transfers of 502 billion naira, and special intervention of 500 billion naira. The budget still get debt service of 2.25 trillion naira. Out of this figure, they approve 1.7 trillion naira for domestic debt, while they give 433 billion naira for foreign debt. They still approve 110 billion naira for sinking fund to retire maturing debt worker to fund the budget, and the federal government don't plan to generate 7 trillion naira as revenue. This one at 3.69 trillion naira from oil sources, while 3.31 trillion naira now they get as revenue from non-oil sources. And details of the fiscal operation of the federal government when we say that the CBN economic report for the fourth quarter of 2019, it shows say the government never see generate better revenue to meet their expenditure. All right, I said the United States government already to invest about $60 million, when we say be almost 20 billion naira, to create about 40,000 jobs for women and youth inside West Africa within the next 5 years. The initiative will be said be one co-investment partnership between the United States Agency for International Development, USAID, and the West Africa Trade and Investment Hub, go Shukai for Business Network, and open 4,000 new private jobs with about 50% when we say they put for one corner for women. The U.S. Ambassador to Nigeria, Mary Beth, when we say the yarn for the launch of the hub inside Abuja, he said the initiative will increase productivity and profitability of smallholder farmers inside the country as they go to promote trade within West Africa.
As a dynamic and diverse nation with such endless potential, Nigeria represents a land of opportunity for private sector investment. The Trade Hub will work to unlock this potential and generate growth by advocating a more business-friendly regulatory environment, especially in the agriculture sector, and facilitating access to private capital to enable the scale-up of private sector businesses. As a result, new, robust public-private partnerships will emerge to take on larger-scale initiatives. These initiatives will amplify our impact and create sustainable jobs for the region, especially jobs that involve women and young people.
The launch of a 5-year, $90 million Trade Hub activity, which focuses on co-investment partnership aimed at increasing agricultural productivity and profitability of small-scale farmers in Nigeria and the West Africa region, is indeed timely and in line with the government's commitments toward economic diversification. I implore our entrepreneurs to take full advantage of the opportunities offered by the USAID Nigeria to achieve their dreams. Events unfolding have underscored the importance of setting up a trade-off fund for research and development in Nigeria.
All right, slide on top of the Plus TV Africa News. Now, our roundup for entertainment and sports with the show back. On to entertainment, they say Justin Bieber done ready to release a long-awaited new album, Changes, on Valentine's Day, when we say be February 14th. This starts with the yarn for one appearance for the Ellen DeGeneres show. Justin Bieber is the talk of a North American tour, when we say go start on 14th of May 2020 for Seattle, Washington, and play stadiums and arenas across the U.S. before he go wrap them up on 26 September 2020 inside East Rutherford, New Jersey. The singer musical comeback a day in full force after I dropped the new tune, Yome, early this month, and released the first installment of a new docu-series this season. All right, that one of entertainment, the next one, now for sports. And for sport, they say Wimbledon champion Simona Halep, he win Estonia Annette Kontaveit 6-1, 6-1 for 53 minutes to race enter the Australian Open semi-final. Muguruza when be say he be 1 2-time Grand Slam champion and before world number 1, he beat Russia Anastasia past Yushchenkova 7-5, 6-3 for 1 hour 33 minutes as a booker spot for 1 Grand Slam semi-final since 2018. She go face Halep on Thursday with the other last 4 tie between Australian world number 1 Ashley Barty and American 14th seed Sophia Kenin. Muguruza get the head-to-head edge past Halep with 3 wins to 2. All the 3 victories they come from hard courts. Tottenham don't complete the signing of Steven Bergwijn from PSV Eindhoven. Bergwijn and I be the Jose Mourinho's second signing of the January transfer window because of Getson Fernandez when we say move from Benfica. Giovanni Lo says so is still doing summer loan, move 1 permanent switch on Tuesday as the Dutch winger don't join the North Londoners for 1 fee inside the region of £25 million, with another £1.6 million for potential add-ons, as it take the price go up to around £27 million. All right, now for a go back break on top this very clock for news on the hour for Plus TV Africa. For better and plenty information, you can follow us at Plus TV Africa for Facebook, for Twitter, and for Instagram. And it will make sense if you subscribe to our YouTube channel at Plus TV Africa. We will see the same and plenty other stories as time they go. My name, I promise, Nero. And I thank our episode that they join us. Well done.
Lagos has a population of over 21 million across nearly 1,000 square kilometers.
4 hours going to work and 4 hours coming back from work. That's a full-time job already, so it is a bad situation.
It's epic. I'll call it epic. I mean, someone described it as a tourist attraction.
The Otedola incident was principally as a result of mechanical factor on the fact of the vehicle.
Since the political capital moved from Lagos, the federal might that should support the role that Lagos plays for Nigeria is no longer there. And it's something that I think we need to continue to agitate for.
Let's talk about your book, The Conscious Life.
It took 5 years to write that book. I wrote it after I thought I kind of had enough from my own journey.
A select edition of Mona Lisa showing on Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. with repeat broadcasts on Friday and Saturday.
Welcome to Tea Time on Plus TV Africa, where we bring you the biggest entertainment stories and, of course, analyze them for you.
You can have both parents and still end up as a useless child. I see them every day.
Most times I worry more about where I'm coming from and where I am now. Wow. And that determines my next step.
Why are you sounding like Alibaba now?
Plus TV Africa, we're feeling good. No time to dull, everybody feeling alright.
I still make music and people are still buying. Sometimes I look myself minimal IU.
Akpala music is for mature-minded people. I got DMs sometimes from Malawi, like,
Sleeping early.
This is it for upcoming artists to blow in Nigeria.
Welcome to Plus Trending. I am Bookie November, your host, saying thank you for joining us on today's episode.
Welcome back. It's Tea Time on Plus TV Africa.
Practice makes perfect. I'm not perfect yet, but I'm a lot better than I used to be.
He's a king. He's entitled to marry 100 if he wants to.
Hey, what's up, guys? You're welcome to another edition of Plus Event, and I remain your host, Ifeoluwa Oshukeye. Your absence isn't an excuse anymore, as Plus Events is all you need, as we bring you the glitz, the glamour, and loads of fun.
Oh, definitely. By no question. He's a living legend.
Oh, God forbid, Holy Ghost fire, no?
I just want to be blown away. I want to be wild. This is 11 years of doing it.
I'm surrounded by so much positivity.
No, it's okay.
Yo, what's up, my people? It's your boy Starboy Terry. You're watching
Plus Event on Plus TV.
Stay glued to Plus TV Africa every Saturday and Sunday, 4:30 p.m. West African time.
We are not yet at a point where a lawyer like Fashola should be the Minister of Housing. We are not there yet.
But what about the social implications that are much more than an architect?
Even if we get a 3-digit number, will our computers work?
There is no hope. Let's not deceive us.
But doesn't mean that there isn't hope, because I believe so that there is hope.
Oh, you must be with one woman. You must be with. These are Igbo ways. African
as your wife
ways
is in on it, we have no problem.
Different.
We have that value system that we got from our royal days and everything. That gives us a sense of identity.
My question is, who is the we?
Which part?
That's going to allow for an Igbo presidency in 2023? Because I mean, it is not you and I.
If we want to have the last presidency based on rotation,
yes, then
we
needs
better
to be
just
an
go to the
Igbo
Southeast,
presidency.
finish with him, and then say the post is now open.
Welcome to another episode of Africa on the Move in partnership with DW. My name is Humayuna Jefe. Today's episode will be focusing on entertainment across the continent, from drumming, singing, dancing, and rap. We start with Huguette, a female drummer from Congo who has been practicing drums for 15 years.
Huguette Tolinga loves music more than anything, especially her drums. For 15 years, the 22-year-old has been practicing whenever she can and playing wherever she goes. When I play, it's like climbing up somewhere high. But in the end, I find myself still on the ground. The percussionist lives in Kalamu district, where she rehearses with her band Ugembo in front of an audience of local youngsters. In Congo, drumming is a predominantly male pursuit, so Tolinga had to learn everything on her own, mostly by watching other musicians play. There was always conflict within her family. For this reason, she left the family home at the age of 19. At first, it was really difficult. It was not easy to get my family to accept what I'm doing here. But acceptance has come, from her family as well as from the men in the local drumming scene. Normally I play with men. Huguette is different from other women. She's just great. For me, it's amazing. Not strange, but amazing. She's an extraordinary girl. Andre Yoka is a music professor at the National Institute of Arts. He explains that the drum is a sacred object for the Congolese people. The female image is also fetishized, he says, so bringing the two together can be seen as problematic. The woman is a fetish. When you go to war, do not touch women. When you go fishing, do not touch women. When you go hunting, you must not touch women. If you touch women, you lose. And so the woman is also an object of taboo, and two objects of taboo cannot be together. But Tolinga does not want to give up her dream. She encourages other women to join her, regularly meeting to play music spontaneously. Young people from the area watch her with interest. Tolinga is now well known in Kinshasa, but she still has problems. The 22-year-old is still looking for a producer to support her, so far without success. But she is determined. One day, I'm going to open up a cultural centre to train other artists, Tolinga is already a role model for many girls. Now she wants to get to the top and become a big star in the Congo.
From the drummer in Congo, we go to a self-taught drummer in Kenya who learned his ancestral sound from his grandmother.
When John Rapasa Otieno was a child, he learned the centuries-old sounds of his ancestors while listening to his grandmother sing and watching her traditional dances. He decided to follow in her footsteps. He taught himself how to build and master more than 10 traditional instruments like this nyatiti.
There's need for the young ones to get to know the instrument, to get to know of their land, their people, their music, their environment. And that's why we decided to at least share with them the knowledge that we have of the instruments.
The instrument is a sound box that's tapped by the player, who often taps metal rings at the same time. Rapasa holds workshops to inspire more youngsters to play the traditional instrument from the Luo ethnic group in Western Kenya.
It's what we need to keep our culture alive. And I think Rapasa is really doing much in promoting our culture.
Rapasa didn't have the funds to buy his drums, sound boxes, or harps, so he started building them by collecting used and natural materials like the sisal plant, animal skins, wood, or metal. Sometimes he finds the cans he needs for his rattles at Nairobi's dump sites.
I saw the struggle of people asking, so where do we get that nyatiti? Where do we get that urud? Where do we get that peke? Where do we get that nyangile or sanduku, you know? Yeah, so I decided, no, I will travel to these places. I will learn how to make them. And I will learn these sounds and bring them close to the people.
The nyatiti is Rapasa's principal instrument. This 8-string harp originated in Egypt. It was later played by the Luo people of Kenya. The lower 4 strings symbolize the first 4 days after a boy's birth, and the upper 4 strings represent the first 4 days after a man's death. It is traditionally played only by men.
I believe that whatever we are doing will change many. For example, you know, the kids will only do whatever they see every day. I think it's necessary for them to learn this so that it's something that is passing, because I also find people playing them. So that is how I also got inspired.
John Rapasa Otieno teaches youth how to play these traditional instruments free of charge. He's dedicated to upholding his grandmother's cultural traditions. Today, he performs for audiences whenever he can to make this ancient music popular once again.
So what's drumming without dancing? We head to Guinea-Bissau, where a young man is trying to ensure that the cultural dances from his country do not become extinct. Interesting.
4 o'clock. Time for one more rehearsal in Bandim Quarter, in the capital of Guinea-Bissau. Hector Diogenes Kasama directs the Netos de Bandim, Portuguese for Bandim's grandchildren. The group, which has more than 100 members of all ages, promotes the culture of Guinea-Bissau. They've already rescued 23 traditional dances from oblivion. Part of our work is going to a specific region where an ethnic group lives, and we collect information about the dance, music, and costumes. Later in Bissau, the group works on the dance and on the cultural components we rescued. Since its foundation in the year 2000, Netos de Bandim has won almost all the local and national carnival parades, gaining popularity among the youth. Through traditional dances and music, Netos de Bandim has helped keep children off the streets and given them an opportunity. Megalino Suarez de Gama grew up without parents. Today, he is a popular percussionist. I used to lead the life of a street child. I hung around in the streets doing bad things like stealing. But Netos de Bandim changed my life completely. Now I'm studying law at the university. Hector Kasama's initiative helps teenagers to discover their own talents and overcome obstacles in their lives. Most of the children in Netos de Bandim are vendors, orphans. They spend almost 70% of their time doing some work. And we support children in terms of education and health care. The organization relies solely on shows to generate income. There's no external support. Half of the profits go towards supporting the young dancers, such as Myra Paulino-Ju, who recently graduated. I used to spend time as a vendor at the market. But Netos de Bandim's help enabled me to go to school every day. Now I don't go to the Bandim market anymore. I'm too busy at school. Netos de Bandim also offers literacy training for parents and vocational courses for the young. Currently, the group has partnerships with several schools and training centers. We have 10 to 15 young people attending training courses. Netos de Bandim have already taken Guinea-Bissau's culture to Gambia, Senegal, and Portugal, and to Carnival in Brazil.
Now, from dancing to more dancing, we head to Chad, where there's an open-air practice for children to discourage them from becoming potential targets for terrorist recruits.
6 o'clock in the morning in central N'Djamena. Dance practice with street children in the open air. Choreographer Aleva Nadavogo Yud is doing this to stop the children from falling into the wrong hands. If the children just hang around on the streets, they become potential targets for terrorists. When we talk of terror today, street children are at a high risk because they have lost hope. And someone who's lost hope might drink and may be ready to do anything for money. For example, working for the Boko Haram militants. No one speaks openly about it, but just about 60 kilometers away in the Lake Chad region, the presence of terrorists can be felt. What looks like a harmless dance is actively preventing terrorism. After 1.5 years of intensive training, the boys have come to trust their instructor. Aleva is my role model. I would also like to become a musician, an artist. Yeah, that's what I'd like to do in the future. Yakub still lives on the street, but Aleva has managed to get him a job at a carpenter's workshop. He doesn't get paid, but he at least gets something to eat. Aleva lives right next to the workshop with his wife and his child. He loves his daughter and spends every free moment with her. A love which most of the boys have never experienced. A love that fights against terror. Aleva is traveling to the other side of Chari River. He wants to visit 3 brothers who lived on the street for months. Thanks to Aleva, the boys returned back home. Their father is jobless and divorced. He has enough problems of his own. Whether they're here or not doesn't really matter. It's their decision. I can't force them into anything. Aleva has a different view. It's much easier when they're here. I can pick them up, work with them professionally, and then bring them back home. Aleva has photos taken for the project. For him, having the twins and their small brother back with their family means success, especially since terrorists cannot reach them here. Some of Aleva's boys spend the night at his place. Whether drunk or sober, the dancer accepts them just the way they are. At first, it was just one boy who would sleep here. Now 30 or more sometimes come. For this, Aleva had to convince members of his family and also the landlord to accept the street children into his home. When I started taking care of the children, everyone was against it. My parents, and especially the mother to my daughter. But I told her, she either accepts the children or she can pack her things and go. In the end, she accepted it. We're still together, and nowadays she's the one who begs me to bring the children home so that they don't have to sleep on the street. My girlfriend understood that I'm doing this out of love. And the children can feel this too, each and every day, a little bit more.
Great initiative. Now from dancing, we go to rap. Angola's rapper is taking big risk with his lyrics.
In other countries, it's just an art form. In Angola, it can be dangerous. Rapper MCK works on his songs in a hidden studio in Luanda.
Chamado a tribunal, acusado de golpista, barrado no aeroporto, feito terrorista. A bofia me pediu para ter cuidado, eu disse eu sou cuidado, investigo a voz do ar, não tenho fama de bandido. Sempre fui artista, só falo, não mato, sou rapper de ativista, não calo, sou chato, filósofo e jurista.
MCK, alias Katrogi Nanga Luamba, denounces police violence and poverty. He studied philosophy and uses music to express his desire for democracy in an authoritarian country. My dream is for the country to change. I don't want to emigrate. I want to stay here in Angola and work towards improving my country. I would like to see an Angola with happier people, people that are proud to live here. The rapper grew up in the Makuluso slum in Angola's capital, Luanda. Everyone here knows him. He used to sell clothes on the streets and then began rapping. His experiences in the slums have influenced his lyrics. It is really hard. If you manage to escape drugs and crime as a 20-year-old, then you're effectively a hero here. But you can do it if you believe in yourself and invest in your life. I'm trying to give something back to this neighborhood. Today he wants to perform in Luanda together with his friend and rapper Luati Bairaun, who was imprisoned for a year, accused of planning a rebellion against the president. Even though the government has consistently banned their concerts in the past, they're optimistic this time. They've already found a venue. MCK never gives up. He won't budge an inch from his message. He insists on his values. If he didn't do that, he would definitely be able to perform in front of larger audiences, but he won't compromise. But the state, too, is uncompromising. It bans the concert just before it begins. MCK doesn't give up. He's determined to make his fans happy, so he spontaneously organizes a rap session in his old neighborhood.
Estamos em paz, quero direitos iguais desses bequinhos que andavam lá fora. Sem sacrifício, riquinhos de agora. Prefiro morrer a ti, também quero paz no prato. Tudo que eu quero é paz no prato. Dignidade e paz no prato, tá todo. Prefiro morrer a tiro do que morrer à fome, irmãos. A disparidade é enorme, vivemos presos nessa armadilha, condenados a sermos escravos.
His song O Pais do Pai Banana is a parable about Angola's President Dos Santos, who has ruled the country since 1979. The president's family controls all the businesses in the country, so there's clearly a conflict of interest. This song is about how a minority are making a ton of money from the majority of people who keep getting poorer. And MCK won't put up with that. He refuses to keep quiet.
And finally, in Kenya, there is this group called the Ghetto Classics. They can turn any song into an orchestra. Take a look.
Classics is my second family. Yeah, you know, maybe you're from the slums, so you can't do anything. So you find it like it's eating me inside. Yeah, so that's the thing that I want to change.
Celine is 18 and lives with her family. The orchestra is voluntary, so she earns money teaching music. Giving young people perspectives is what organisers set out to do, even though people didn't understand at first.
When we first started, everyone thought we were crazy. What's this classical music nonsense, you know, as opposed to genge or, you know, hip-hop or something cool and groovy. And so the kids, I remember our first concert here, we did some excerpts from Handel's Messiah, and we were like, we could have landed from Mars.
But the idea took off with funding from the Kenyan Art of Music Foundation.
I don't think that all the kids who are in our program will necessarily be first-class musicians or the best musicians around. But somebody like Celine, for instance, she's extremely talented. And actually, I feel it's a shame that Celine didn't come into our program when she was much younger, because perhaps if we had met her when she was 8 or 9, who knows what could have come out of this.
And there's still plenty of young talent among Korogocho's 300,000 inhabitants. Celine says Ghetto Classics is a lot more than just a career opportunity.
Music has enabled me, to realize myself and know who I am and what I want in future. So at least it has made me travel a lot and meet different people. So I think music has opened my eyes to see and to know what I want.
Celine has become a role model for others here. Discipline and teamwork are essential for any career, and there is hardly a better way to learn that in Korogocho than through the Ghetto Classics Orchestra.
That's all, people. May your week be filled with dancing, singing, and drumming like today's episode. I'm Fumi Unajefe. See you next time. Bye.
For upcoming artists to blow in Nigeria.
Welcome to Plus Trending. I am Buki November, your host, saying thank you for joining us on today's episode.
Welcome back. It's tea time on Plus TV Africa.
Practice makes perfect. I'm not perfect yet, but I'm a lot better than I used to be.
He's a king. He's entitled to marry 100 if he wants to.
Lagos has a population of over 21 million across nearly 1,000 square kilometers.
4 hours going to work and 4 hours coming back from work. That's a full-time job already, so it is a bad situation.
It's epic. I'll call it epic. I mean, someone described it as a tourist attraction.
The Otedola incident was principally as a result of mechanical factor on the fact of the vehicle.
Since the political capital moved from Lagos, the federal might that should support the role that Lagos plays for Nigeria is no longer there. And it's something that I think we need to continue to agitate for.
Let's talk about your book, The Conscious Life. It took 5 years to write that book. I wrote it after I thought I kind of had enough from my own journey.
A select edition of Mona Lisa showing on Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. with repeat broadcasts on Friday and Saturday.
We are not yet at a point where a lawyer like Fashola should be the Minister of Housing. We are not there yet.
But what about the social implications that are much more than an architect? Even if we get a 3-digit number, will our computers work?
There is no hope. Let's not deceive us.
But it doesn't mean that there isn't hope, because I believe so that there is hope.
Oh, you must be with one woman. You must be with, these are Igbo ways. African
your wife is in on it, we have no problem.
Different.
We have that value system that we got from our royal days and everything. That gives us a sense of identity.
My question is, who is the we?
Which part?
That's going to allow for an Igbo presidency in 2023. Because I mean, it is not you and I.
If we want to have the last presidency based on rotation,
yes, then
we
needs
better
to
just
be
go
an
to the
Igbo
Southeast,
presidency.
finish with him, and then say the post is now open.
A lot of the jobs that exist today will not exist in the next 10 years. 10 years.
When I see people today shouting, we're not too young to run, we are ready to run. Ready to run to where?
The people of excellence are, to a certain extent, being held ransom by idiots and bandits.
Once you are in government, you believe everything you do is right. And once you are in opposition, everything the government does is wrong.
And so it's time for us to take over power.
Tony Elumelu is a Nigerian entrepreneur, economist, and philanthropist. He is the chairman of United Bank for Africa, Heirs Holdings, Transcorp, and founder of Tony Elumelu Foundation. He was born in Plateau State. He obtained his BSc and MSc degrees in Nigeria and is an alumnus of Harvard Business School. He began his career as a business analyst at the bank, rose to the position of a branch manager in 1 year after his MSc. He took the bold step and acquired the then struggling Standard Trust Bank and made it one of the top 5 players in Nigeria. He acquired UBA in 2005, transforming it into a Pan-African institution. His foundation gives $100,000 yearly grant to 1,000 entrepreneurs across Africa and intends running the scheme for 10 years. He holds 2 Nigerian honors, the Commander of the Order of the Niger and Member of the Order of the Federal Republic. He was recognized by Forbes in 2012 as one of Africa's most powerful people. He is happily married to Dr. Vivian Elumelu and the proud father of 7 children. Tony never compromises when it is time to have fun and to exercise. And this is the Mogul in 90 seconds.
Hey, what's up, guys? You're welcome to another edition of Plus Event, and I remain your host, Ifeoluwa Oshukeye.
Your absence isn't an excuse anymore, as Plus Events is all you need, as we bring you the glitz, the glamour, and loads of fun.
Oh, definitely. Right, no question. He's a living legend.
Oh, God forbid, Holy Ghost fire, no?
I just want to be blown away. I want to be wild. This is 11 years of doing it.
I'm surrounded by so much positivity.
No, it's okay.
Yo, what's up, my people? It's your boy Starboy Terry. You're watching
Plus Event
on Plus TV. Stay glued to Plus TV Africa every Saturday and Sunday, 4:30 p.m. West African time.
Welcome to Tea Time on Plus TV Africa, where we bring you the biggest entertainment stories and, of course, analyze them for you.
You can have both parents and still end up as a useless child. I see them every day.
Most times I worry more about where I'm coming from and where I am now, and that determines my next step.
Why are you sounding like
Alibaba
now? Plus TV Africa, we're feeling good. No time to dull, everybody feeling alright. I can still make music
and people are still buying. That's why they look myself minimal IU.
Akpala music is for mature-minded people. I got DMs sometimes from Malawi, like,
sleeping early.
Welcome to What Are You Saying? #Ways.
I feel with technology, there's so much and there's nowhere we cannot go to.
One of the biggest problems we have today are people not adhering to planning and also particularly building control.
I believe that I don't need more than a 3-bedroom apartment. But people still believe that I must own a mansion that shows that yes, I'm wealthy and all of that.
We need to be realistic and understand that we need to live in smaller and smaller spaces.
Most of the tradesmen you have are like apprentices. So they don't learn the proper ways to do things or even improve themselves to new technology, newer products, newer materials.
Why does everybody have to have an AC? Can you afford an AC? If you can't afford it, you don't need it. You have a window here, the air will pass.
So if you had one big challenge in architecture in Nigeria, what would that be?
Millennials are all in a hurry and millennials are very entitled.
Advisor to the President on Media and Publicity, in a statement said President Muhammadu Buhari gave the assurance on Tuesday when he received the chairman MTN Group at State House, Abuja. The MTN Group chairman said he was visiting along with top executives of the telecoms company to show appreciation to President Buhari. According to him, the group has utmost commitment to investing in Nigeria and will commit $1.6 billion from its operations in the country to strengthen its network and systems. Meanwhile, President Muhammadu Buhari has urged auditors to deploy the powers they have to fight corruption and properly sanitize the hitherto ineffective system of accountability in the country. He spoke in Abuja during the second Auditors General Conference with theme Building Government Audit Institutions, Nigeria Needs for the 24th Century. President Buhari urged auditors to embolden and heighten insecurity in parts of the country. The president stated this when he received a delegation of eminent and respected citizens of Niger State, led by Governor Abubakar Sani Bello in State House, Abuja, on Tuesday. President Buhari maintained that the activities of the bandits had forced many to abandon their farms and homes, adding that they will now to perpetrate their nefarious activities. The federal government has tasked the National Institute for Security Studies to live up to its responsibility and fulfill its mandate. The Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, made this known in Abuja while inaugurating the Governing Board of Institute. Mustafa said he is confident that with the board now in place, the capacity of the federal government to solve the myriad of security challenges bedeviling the nation has become richer.
With the tenacity of purpose, focus, and a burning desire to excel, I have no doubt that you can achieve the overall objective for the establishment of the Institute, namely making a difference and contributing to the security and stability of our dear country.
We recognize the fact that there are several challenges that are facing the nation. Our belief is that we can contribute to mitigating the various challenges that are facing the nation. So it is our intention really to nurture an institute that will be unlike the other institutions, because we intend to actively participate in the process of advising the government as well as enhancing professionalism in the various services.
And joining now via phone is a retired military officer, General Sam Moma. Good afternoon to you, General.
Good afternoon.
And thank you for joining us on News on the Hour. Now, would you agree that the insecurity problem has gotten worse? And what would you largely attribute as the cause of this, please?
Pardon?
Now, would you agree that the security issue has gotten worse? And what would you largely attribute as the cause of this?
That what has gotten worse?
The security issue in the country.
Okay, yeah. Definitely Nigeria, things have gotten worse. And I think it's essentially because of our failure of security architecture of Nigeria not being properly taken care of. Hence most of the action of the leadership. So I believe that to solve this problem, there are 4 steps we must take. First is that we must restructure Nigeria. And restructuring Nigeria means taking the following 4 steps. First, there must be a national conference. And then the national conference will be followed by a referendum of the outcome of the conference. And then thirdly, there must be a people's constitution. And then with that constitution, we must then implement to the letters the content of that constitution. So these are the 4 steps I believe that can be taken to check the malaise that is bedeviling Nigeria today.
Okay. Now, was it inevitable that the proposition for Amotekun or a similar project would have come up sooner or later? And what do you think are the merits of this?
Yes, Amotekun became necessary because we have not restructured. I can bet you if we restructure Nigeria, Nigerian police will be equally restructured. They'll be more efficient and devoted and professional. And once that happens, there may not be need for Amotekun or state police. That is my own concept. We must overhaul the police force. The police force must be overhauled completely. And that is part of the restructuring effort we are talking about. If that is done, then of course, there may not be need to have Amotekun or state police or regional police.
Are there merits to this paramilitary security outfits? Are there merits to them?
Of course, right now there is merit for it.
Yes.
It's necessary because the police has failed and there is so much lawlessness in the society. So it's a worthy venture. I applaud the initiators of Amotekun and others zones was follow suit. They must do the same. They must protect the life and properties of their citizens.
Amazingly, you didn't mention the failure of the Nigerian police force. Now, community policing is being considered. How might this work to address the problems of insecurity?
Yeah, community police is essential. At this stage now, we have no choice than to rely on community policing. And they will now marry themselves up and become part of the regional or state police force.
Now, aside from community policing, what do you think can be done to begin to nail the coffin on our national insecurity challenges?
Well, we have no choice for now. You know, the national police force will still go on, but they will be part of the community policing will be part of the national police force. They must work hand in hand. They must have a linkage, you know.
General Sam Momah, thank you very much for joining us on News on the Hour and for your contribution.
Thank you so much. Well done.
Nigerian Army has reopened Damboa Road after a year of its closure. Maiduguri Damboa Road was closed by military as a result of frequently attacks on vehicles by Boko Haram insurgents. The road was open to commuters sometimes around 2016 before the military authority later announced its closure for security reasons. Today, the reopening marks the 13th month since the Damboa Highway.
For the second time, for strategic reasons, as mentioned by the data commander, the road had to be closed again. This is to allow for freedom of action of our troops to be able to contain the attacks on this road by the Boko Haram terrorists. It was quite strategic. It wasn't done deliberately to inconvenience the people that apply this road or to prevent them from carrying out their economic activities.
I also want to thank the Nigerian Army under the leadership of our amiable Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Chua Buratai, for taking this bold decision of reopening this road for the citizens of the state to commute freely. We want to appreciate the Nigerian Army and other security services for the job well done.
Ni askira bane zunge kafin a bude hanyar nan muna bi ta Bamma. To wani lokaci za mu yi kwana biyu a hanya, wani lokaci kuma za mu yi kwana ɗaya a hanya kafin mu iso Wuba.
The House of Representatives is set to resume plenary today, Wednesday, the 2019-2020. This is because the House had adjourned plenary yesterday to mourn Mohammed Gao, who passed on during the Christmas holidays. The motion for adjournment was moved by the Majority Leader of the House, Peter Akpatasin, and seconded by House Minority Leader Ndudu Elumelu Gao, who was representing Gariki Dubara Federal Constituency of Jigawa State, died in Dubai, United Arab Emirates, following a brief illness. Lawmakers held a minute silence for their late colleague.
Akpatasin, representing the great people of Akoko Edo Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker and my colleagues, I move that this House do adjourn till tomorrow, Wednesday, 11 o'clock, in honor of our departed friend and brother. I so move.
I represent the good people of another constituency. I'm from Delta State. I rise to second the motion moved by the acting leader associate.
Honorable Adamu Muhammadu Fagengao, who died on 31st December 2019 when we were all away for our Christmas break. He has since been buried according to Muslim rites, but as is the tradition of this house, and in his honor, this house will not be sitting today, so we will just take a 1 minute silence and we will resume plenary tomorrow.
The news will continue after the short break. We'll be back in a moment. And across the African continent, militia infighting in Central African Republic killed around 40 people over the weekend and forced several hundreds from their homes, local authorities said on Tuesday. The bloodshed was some of the worst since armed groups agreed a peace deal last February. That was meant to bring stability to a country rocked by violence since 2013, when mainly Muslim rebels in the Seleka alliance ousted the then president, prompting reprisal from mostly Christian militia. The clashes broke out on Saturday in the eastern town of Bria between different ethnic factions of the ex-Seleka armed group, the FPRC, according to United Nations peacekeeping mission known as MONUSCA. The region prefect Everetse Bingunaji said 38 were killed based on a body count at the local hospital, but the death toll could be closer to 50. 39 people were killed in northern Burkina Faso on Saturday in what the government called a terrorist attack on a village in Sound province. The weekend attack followed less than a week after militants killed 36 civilians in the neighboring province, part of a surge in violence in the West African country that has killed hundreds, forced more than 500,000 from their homes, and made much more of the north ungovernable over the past 2 years. The government did not provide further details on the latest killing in the village of Silgaji, describing it in a statement on Tuesday as cowardly and barbaric. It was not immediately clear who was responsible. South African President Cyril Ramaphosa has identified the intractable conflicts in Libya and South Sudan as a focus for South Africa when it will be chairing the African Union AU this year. He said these conflicts need the intervention of those who are able to assist African countries to find solutions, adding in some cases these interventions seem to be driven by ulterior motives. This indirect criticism was directed at especially Turkey and Russia, a close ally of South Africa, as part of the BRIC economic grouping. South Africa has been part of peace efforts to both countries for several years now as part of the AU High-Level Committee on Libya and High-Level Ad Hoc Committee on South Sudan. Up next is our foreign news.
In recent times, getting employment is a major testimony. Getting a fantastic job, that's a cat with all the cream. So in what world does anyone ever leave that sort of job? Well, in this world. Not Your 9 to 5 show covers all the seemingly questions and intrigues.
I can't work for anybody. Number of times I spent with shoes, I see shoes in my dreams sometimes.
I can't be waiting for salary. I know we have a lot of challenges.
Working for people is like starting from the scratch.
We have political issues, we have socio-economic issues, we even have spiritual issues.
I don't think I can do 9 to 5 anymore. So this is not your regular 9 to 5.
It's my life, my world.
Join me, Amaka Okoye, on Not Your 9 to 5, showing on Monday 5:30 p.m. and Thursday 11:30 a.m. West African time.
Palestinians have dismissed U.S. President Donald Trump's new Middle East peace plan as a conspiracy. The plan envisages a Palestinian state and the recognition of Israeli sovereignty over West Bank settlements. East Jerusalem reacting to Tuesday's announcement, Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas said Jerusalem is not for sale. All our rights are not for sale and not for bargain, he added. Thousands of Palestinians held protests in the Gaza Strip while the Israeli military deployed reinforcements in the occupied West Bank. Also, Russia and China are working to develop a coronavirus vaccine. Beijing has also handed over the genome of the virus to Moscow, a Russian diplomatic mission in China said on Wednesday. The death toll in China from the coronavirus rose to 132 on Wednesday, with the number of confirmed cases now at nearly 6,000. Russian and Chinese experts have begun developing a vaccine, the Russian consulate in Gansu province said in a statement. It was not clear if Russian and Chinese scientists were working together or separately. The consulate in Gansu could not be reached for comment. Coming up next is our business news. The federal government recorded a fiscal deficit of 4.6% projected